Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Max Velocity weather forecast. And in today's forecast, we'll be breaking down a storm that is coming to the United States early this week, and that storm is actually going to bring a ton of thunderstorms, anywhere from the Midwest and Ohio Valley back into the Southern Plains and Dixie Alley. And though severe weather still remains somewhat unlikely for much of the country, there will at least be some sort of low to middle ground severe weather risk for areas like the Southern Plains and Dixie Alley. We might even see a couple of severe storms back up in the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. We'll also be talking about the massive heat wave that is going to start to build again in the United States this weekend, with more record-breaking high temperatures possible. I'll be giving you the latest breakdown on everything that you need to know in this forecast, and let's begin with what's happening right now in the United States today. And we'll begin with the East Coast, and this is an area that we actually had a large storm move through over the last 48 hours. This system began back down in the Southern Plains, brought some showers, some thunderstorms, and even some rare late February sleet to areas in North Texas. This eventually moved through the Midwest, and now it's moving through the Northeast, where there is still some ongoing showers across areas in New England this afternoon. We also have some other showers and a few thunderstorms back down into areas like the Gulf of Mexico, and as well as Florida. But once we get past tonight, most of this activity will be moving offshore, with the exception of Florida still being in on at least some potential of some showers and maybe a few thunderstorms. Back over on the west coast of the country, this is an area that has been extremely active all winter long, and it still is. We actually have a large storm that is coming onshore, and this is going to continue to bring lots of rainfall, high winds to areas along the west coast. In addition to this, even in the higher elevations, there is a chance for as much as 140 inches of snow, and I'm not exaggerating by that. That's actually a possibility. Back over in eastern California, where the higher elevations are, those areas have the chance to see some life-threatening conditions. It's really crazy, actually, because again, 140 inches of snow, imagine having that on the ground anywhere else in the country. That is just unheard of. It's a very rare sort of event, but in the higher elevations, slightly more common than, let's just say, like, you know, the Midwest, where there's really not a whole lot of mountains. This is the snowfall accumulation, by the way, over the next 48 hours. This is just over the next 48 hours. We're not talking about the next 5 days, 10 days, whatever. This is just over the next 48 hours. Look at this. 132 inches of snow. It's just mind-boggling to see this. Most of the elevations overall will see between 60 to 100 inches of snow, which again, even then is still pretty crazy to say, but 132 inches of snow just takes the cake. And obviously there's already been snow there, so more snow is to come. So it's going to get pretty interesting there over the next really 48 hours. So stay safe if you are in the higher elevations. A lot of roadways have been closed there as well. All right, let's talk more about these storms that are coming to the United States over the next 48, 72, 96 hours, because we do have a few chances of storms, and some of these could even be severe. The Storm Prediction Center has outlined for Monday, which is Mesoscale Madness Monday. We do have a marginal threat of severe weather right now that goes from Arkansas back into Texas and Louisiana. I would not be surprised if we got some sort of small slight risk of severe weather with this, and I also wouldn't be surprised if this marginal threat went all the way back up into the Midwest and perhaps the Ohio Valley, because I do think there will at least be some sort of conditional risk for severe weather Monday afternoon into the evening hours. But overall, the main concern right now is going to be damaging winds and large hail. This is not a very very favored, I should say, sheared setup across these areas. So that basically means that I don't think we're going to have a lot of rotation in the lower levels to be able to create any sort of significant tornado threat. So I think overall the tornado risk will stay on the lower side of things, and it really should stay very low across areas in the Southern Plains with this particular setup. With that being said, there will likely be some sort of risk of severe weather in the Dixie Alley and back onto the East Coast as we go into Tuesday, but that still remains pretty uncertain. But we will be talking about that as well in the future radar. So let's hop right into that. Beginning with today, notice there is still rain falling across areas in the Northeast back near Long Island. That'll continue over the next really 12 hours or so before it moves offshore. A few showers, perhaps an isolated thunderstorm or two back down in Florida is expected today. I actually would not be surprised if we got a really random, isolated, severe storm in Florida today. As we go into Sunday morning, that disturbance continues to move through the Northeast, where it begins to weaken out. New storm enters the country as we go into Sunday morning. This low pressure system will actually be pretty strong. It is going to bring plenty of snowfall to areas in Canada, Montana, back through the Rocky Mountains. If you were hoping for snow in the Midwest or the Ohio Valley, you're not going to be getting any. Unfortunately, as we go into Sunday afternoon and evening, that snow will stay well up to the north and east, and the main reason why is because we have a low pressure system that is going to be moving up here to the north and northeast. That's not really going to be going east or southeast, which would be more favorable of bringing some sort of snow potential to the anywhere really in the United States. So unfortunately, we're not really going to get much out of this when it comes to that. But with that all being said, there is going to be a chance as we go into Sunday evening for a few isolated thunderstorms back up in western Wisconsin. I think we've kind of come to the agreement with this particular event that we probably will not see any severe weather with this. The moisture content in the atmosphere is just going to be very lacking in this area. We're going to be with low 50s for dew points. It's really not that favorable for severe weather, but a few really random thunderstorms for the beginning of March will be possible in central and western Wisconsin, perhaps even eastern Minnesota tomorrow evening. Once we go into Monday morning, that disturbance moves to the north and east, but with that being said, we're going to have a redevelopment of a low pressure system back down in the southern plains, and this will allow for some showers and also maybe even a little bit of mixture of rain and snow in areas like Wisconsin. By the afternoon, we'll be watching for the potential for some severe storms to fire up back down in areas like Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. In addition to that, there could even be a few isolated showers and thunderstorms anywhere from Michigan back into Missouri, and these could also pose a very conditional risk of severe weather, and that would be mostly confined to this leading edge here of thunderstorms, which again, I do think this risk overall is very low. It's nothing to really be panicking about or concerned about. Isolated large hail possible, maybe some gusty winds, but it really shouldn't be anything too crazy. Once we go closer to 9 o'clock, storms will continue even as far south as areas, again, like Texas and Louisiana. We'll be watching multiple different areas for those thunderstorms to fire off, but overall, not a very favorable setup back up in the Midwest and the Ohio Valley, but I do expect at least a few thunderstorms out there. Once we go to Tuesday morning, storms continue to push to the south and east. Isolated severe weather will continue across areas in the Dixie Alley Tuesday morning. By the afternoon, this rain will continue to move to the east with a few thunderstorms still being possible down in Alabama and Florida. Severe weather threat right now for Tuesday remains pretty low. By Wednesday morning, showers and thunderstorms possible across Florida, and if we do get a low pressure system to redevelop down here, we might actually get a little tornado threat to get going as we go into Wednesday morning across Florida. And by Thursday, and as well as going into Friday, that disturbance moves to the north and east. There is going to be a chance for some snow out of that in northern New England, but the exact details of that still remain pretty unknown for late Thursday into Friday. And by Friday into Saturday, the European model indicating another large storm that'll develop. This could also bring a severe weather potential, but again, this is multiple days out. Make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll be keeping you posted with the latest on that. By the way, this is the moisture as we go into Sunday into Monday. Notice the dew points will be actually pretty favorable back down in Texas, but I don't really anticipate many storms on Sunday. By Monday, a little bit better of a setup here as we go into Monday around about 3 o'clock. Dew points into the 60s, creating a lot of buoyancy for a severe weather setup. But back into the Midwest, we're talking about dew points right around 55, which is enough for severe weather, but we do have some other lacking ingredients, especially in the mid-levels. We don't really have as much moisture there either. So there are some problems with any sort of severe weather setup there. But again, make sure you stay tuned. If anything does change, we will keep you posted with the latest. And over the next several days, the temperatures are going to change a lot. We are going to have another potential for record-breaking high temperatures in the Midwest and even back through the Central Plains in the Ohio Valley. A lot of that warm air will start to kick off to the east as we go into Tuesday due to that low pressure system back up in Canada. But here in the United States, we're really not going to get a whole lot of that cold air. It's going to stay right around, if not above average for most of the country. Eventually, as we go into Saturday and Sunday of next weekend, we might get another cold air mass. But again, exactly what that does, how cold it gets, all those details do remain pretty uncertain. And obviously, it's been pretty inconsistent on the computer models. Yesterday, that showed in the Central Plains. Now it's down in the Southern Plains and the Dixie Alley. So there's definitely some variation there. Here are the temperatures tomorrow afternoon. Record-breaking high temperatures possible from the Midwest back into the Southern Plains. Many areas in the Midwest into the 60s and 70s, which is, again, very rare even for early March. Back into Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Many areas in the 70s and perhaps even 80s. We will begin to cool down, though, as we go into Monday and Tuesday. Eventually, a little bit more cold air will start to return. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe if you've not already.